back again to class. We are still on the Scrum Master training, module 4, and this class is lesson 4 of the module 4. In the last lesson, we looked at another best practice in Scrum called swarming. And in this class, we now be taking the fourth best practice in Scrum called daily clean code. So what then is daily clean code? This class would be a short class because we do not want it to be out of scope of this training. Daily clean code appears more technical, but we'll just explain it for the purpose of this class. So daily clean code is just a practice, a standard practice that ensures that a team cleans off every effort that had been done in that day, and the team passes that effort as okay before the close of that day. So how it works is, let me use the building illustration where you have bricklayers working on the project. And today we said we would lay blocks for one of the walls and we will complete that particular project. Let's assume the work starts by 9 a.m. and we finish by 5 p.m. So if we implement daily clean code, we could now say as a team, instead of everyone to stop their work by 5 p.m., let them stop by 4:30 p.m. The remaining 30 minutes before the close of the day, each person will now check what they have done for that day and be sure such had been done properly. We want to check it against the standard. So in this illustration of using the building, by 4:30 the bricklayer stops laying new bricks or blocks on the wall and goes to check all the work he had done for that day to make sure they are properly done, they are aligned well, they are cleaned up, they are ready for the next phase. That's what daily clean code means. What that does for the team is that it takes care of rework. It also ensures that standard is followed on daily basis. Some experiments had shown that every time you leave work with errors for a day, when you come back to that piece of work the following day, you will need to struggle to understand what work or what error it was the previous day. In this case of using a bricklayer, let's assume that a bricklayer has not laid a particular portion well according to the standard, and that is left over the night. By morning, it would have cured more, it would have solidified more, and it will take more effort to now correct that piece of work. So daily clean code ensures that the standard is checked daily, the work is passed daily to have met the standard agreed by the team. That's what daily clean code is all about. So we are checking a piece of work done for that day, and before we close for that day, we are also checking if that piece of work has met the standard we agreed initially. So where we have acceptance criteria, that piece of work when completed for that day, we are checking it against the acceptance criteria. Where we have definition of done, we are checking that piece of work against the definition of done for that day. Where we have standards that have been defined, we are checking that piece of work against standard that has been defined for that day. So let's look quickly at some of the considerations for daily clean code. And I'll go through this quickly. As I mentioned earlier, the class would be a short class. The first one is training and education. The team members need to be properly trained. They need to be able to know what is expected. They need to know what the standard is. The standard should not be one secret thing. Everybody is to be carried along to be in the know. Then secondly, you need to define the clean code standards as agreed. That should be clear to all. That should be open to all. That standard must be well defined. Then 3, you need to incorporate it into daily work. It's a practice. Your daily clean code must be a culture for the team. You need to implement it daily. And that one of the ways we do that is to leave some time out. Instead of doing more work, let's correct and make sure the ones done for that day had been done properly. Then, of course, you could introduce pair programming. Pair programming and code review is a practice borrowed from extreme programming. Pair programming is where you put 2 team members together. So while one is driving, the other is navigating. While one is writing the code, the other is checking the code. So that could lead us into peer review also. The code that is being reviewed together. Then refactoring session, where before you close for that day, you are also checking that all what you've done for the day fits into the whole bigger structure that you are building. When the bricklayer finishes laying the blocks, he now checks what he had done for that day as it fits perfectly into the plan of that building. Then also automation tool could improve your processes, where you can use that to check against. Continuous integration is one of the agile engineering practices, which means as you are finishing, the quality is okay, you've tested them, you can begin to integrate them into the workflow, into the delivery processes. Then lastly, feedback and iterations. Though that would be the end of this class. As I mentioned, it will be a short class on the best practice of one of the best practices in Scrum that we call daily clean code. We'll see again in the next class. If you have any questions, please send them across. I'll be glad to answer them. Bye for now.